لكل شيء إذا ما تم نقصان فلا يغر بطيب العيش إنسان هي الأمور كما شاء الزهد.
In North Africa, the growing Islamic empire gathers strength, converting large numbers of indigenous tribesmen called Amaziran, or as the Greeks named them, Berbers. The Berber warriors proved useful in Islam's expansion, as Arab leaders set their sights on the now vulnerable Visigoth kingdom of Spain. A young, newly converted Berber warrior named Tariq ibn Ziad leads 7,000 men in an invasion of the Iberian Peninsula. In 711, almost 100 years after its birth, Islam has crossed the narrow 8-mile Strait of Gibraltar that separates North Africa from the lands of Europe.
He was born in the year 50 of Al-Hijrah, what is the year 640. So, Tariq ibn Ziyad became a governor in Tangier at the year 89 of Al-Hijrah. He was from the pure Amazigh, and not like some claim that he was an Arab or from Faris.
It had been 86 years after migration. And within Spain, there was an internal war going on. They were having a civil war. Between them, there were some disagreements, some arguments. Two parties came around. There was a lot of misunderstandings, fighting back and forth. And the people of Spain were kind of fed up with a lot of oppression that was taking place within their country. So one of the two parties reached out to the Muslim leader, Musa bin Nusayr. And he said to him that we see that you guys, just south of us in Tangiers, you guys have such a beautiful country and such a beautiful community setup, such a beautiful environment you guys have placed within your society, that we are so amazed, we would like for you guys to come and help us as well. Now, they weren't actually saying for the Muslims to come and rule them, but they wanted some help from the Muslims. So Musa bin Nusayr, he wrote a letter to Walid bin Abdul Malik. And Walid bin Abdul Malik, he gave permission to Musa bin Nusayr, saying, I give you permission, do as you wish.
Ibn Nusayr, who was the Imam in Maghrib, and Maghrib of course at that time consisted of everything of North Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria and Morocco.
Musa ibn Nusayr, or Nusayr, who was the army leader sent to Africa, after a while he found that one of the strongest men in his army was Tariq ibn Ziyad.
Europe was outside their boundary. They had never gone there before. The weather was different, the land was different, the people were different, everything was different. So 91 years after Hijrah, he sent a group of people in the month of Ramadan. He sent a group of people to go out to Spain and scout the area. Go and check it out. They came back and they gave the entire report to Tariq bin Ziyad. Now, since Tariq bin Ziyad now finally has an understanding of the landscape of Spain, what he did was, he took permission from his leader, Musa bin Nusayr, and he took with him an army.
He was a Berber and he made his army from the Berbers, and he got on the ships and he went off to Spain and he landed there.
The first point he reached, rahimahullah ta'ala, was the place Jabal Tariq.
Over there he took over some of the cities, some of the harboring cities, and he took over these cities. When he took over these cities sent an emissary, a messenger to King Roderick, who was living in the middle of Spain and who was ruling over Spain and lived in the middle of Spain. And he sent an emissary to King Roderick and said, and this emissary, subhanAllah, it is reported in the books of history, that this emissary came to King Roderick and said, oh great king, we are being attacked by a people from the sky. And the king said, what do you mean? We are being attacked with a people from the sky. And the king would not understand. So explain yourself, man, what do you mean? And they said, wallahi, at night they pray like priests, and in the morning they fight like lions. So they can't be human. They are people from the sky.
The king, Loderick, knew about the army of Tariq, so he sent a huge army to fight Tariq ibn Ziyad.
Now, Tariq bin Ziad, he very carefully places his army into position. And this was very important, the place he chose for the battlefield. Because he had 12,000 soldiers, but how many people were in front of him? 100,000. The ratio was more or less 1 to 10.
20,000 or 100,000 Christians in front of him. 100,000 Christians in front of him. What did he do? He told his people to burn the ships. Why? So that people know that there is no way out. There is either victory or death.
Alhamdulillah wa la yadumu illa mulkuh.
The khutbah of Tariq ibn Ziyad, what started by saying, أيها الناس أين المفر? O people, there is no fleeing. Where are you fleeing to? البحر من ورائكم والعدو أمامكم. The sea is behind you and the enemy is in front of you. وليس لكم والله إلا الصدق والصبر. And you have nothing that will benefit you except being truthful towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and patience. And then he said, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ فِي هَذِهِ الْجَزِيرَةِ أَضْيَعُ مِنَ الْأَيْتَامِ. He said, and know that you are in this island more lost than a person who lost his parents. وَقَدْ اسْتَقْبَلَكُمْ عَدُوكُمْ بِجَيْشِهِ وَأَسْلِحَتِهِ. And your enemy is confronting you now with his army and with his weapons. وَأَنْتُمْ لَا وَزَرَ لَكُمْ إِلَّا سُيُوفُكُمْ. You have nothing except for your swords. لِيَكُونَ حَظُّهُ مِنْكُمْ ثَوَابُ اللَّهِ عَلَى إِعْلَاءِ كَلِمَتِهِ. He said, let the intention be the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said something very important. And then he said, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنِّي أَوَّلُ مُجِيبٍ إِلَى مَا دَعَوْتُكُمْ إِلَيْهِ. And said, and know people that I am the first person to respond to the thing that I have called you to. So it's not something that he just says to the people and then he keeps himself behind. And he will join the fight himself.
On the sixth day, the Muslims won. On the sixth day, the Muslims won. Roderick died. Most of the Christians were killed. Most of the Christians in that battle were killed. The sons of Roderick were killed. Roderick himself fled or he died. And from the Muslims, only a few in number died. Only a few in number died, and Muslimin had the whole of Andalus open to them. Because now the king had fallen. There was nothing left on their way. And so city after city, city after city, Tariq bin Ziyad pressed on until he took over all of Spain.
At the end of the 3 years when the Khalifa pulled him back, what happened to him after that? Again, the historians say, we have no idea. Where did he go? Did he pass away in Spain? Did he pass away in Dimashq? Did he pass away in Hijaz? What happened to him after that? Was he a rich person? Was he a poor person? History has no idea what happened to Tariq bin Ziyad before and after. It was as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him just to conquer Spain, and then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him back. Until today, the scholars debate on where his grave is.